the Fantasy Showdown. Do I have a guest? Am I by myself? Will I be talking to myself today and arguing with at a wall? My wife says I argue with the wall all the time. So buckle in, guys. It's going to be a fun show. We do have a guest, but he is running a little late. Technical difficulties. We're talking on the back end, so everything should be good. We have a banger show ready for you. A bunch of great people to speak about today regarding fantasy matchups. So buckle in, get ready to go. Let's get it started.
You're watching the Start Sit Showdown only on Fantasy Now Plus.
You heard that right. I am Josh Kimmel, and this is the Fantasy Sit Start Showdown. I am your host, and I'm going to be the defender of these players as well as the aggressor as I wait for my guest. I'm not going to get there yet. I'll wait for him a little bit. But before we do, I do have to let you know where to find us. FantasyNowPlus.com, where you can find all of our rankings. I visited there today because I had to go check my dynasty rankings because I'm seeing a lot of discussion about Rashee Rice and where we should rank him. If you've been listening to the show for a long time, you know where he should have been, and a lot of people are putting him up there. So check out our rankings at FantasyNowPlus.com. Make sure you follow us on Blue Sky, right? Fantasy Now Plus. I've been posting a lot more than I usually do. That's going to calm down. Don't get excited, people. Sometimes I get in my moods, right? So I'm in there right now. So if you want to check me out, Josh Kimmel on Blue Sky. Fins Talk Sports Network. You're probably watching us on the Fins Talk Sports Network right now. If you are, thank you so much for that. You can find us on Twitch or YouTube. Make sure you switch on over to Fantasy Now Plus and hit a subscribe button. You can go back to Fins Talk Sports Network. Great guys over there. Bobby Melendez. Those guys are doing great things. We also host a professional wrestling podcast every Saturday. If you're into that kind of thing, yeah, you should be. We'll be talking about some Halloween gimmicks, brother, this Saturday coming up. A little trick-or-treat edition if you're into pro wrestling. All right, man. That's all the plugs. So let's get into the show. We do have some interesting topics. I'm back to my paper notes. I'm known for my paper notes because I'm so old. But that's okay. That's all right. We do have a question already to answer. I'm going to go ahead and jump on top of that. So Jamie has a dynasty question. The 10-team league, Superflex. He was offered Xavier Worthy for Trevor Lawrence, straight up, 1-for-1. He has Drake May, Jackson Dart, Danny Dimes, or as he calls him, Danny Dollars. I only have Justin Jefferson, or George Pickens, Garrett Wilson, stud, and then true bums like Josh Downs and Jaden Reed. I love these kind of questions because it is 1-for-1, value for value. Where do you rank these people? Last year, I can just tell you this, Jamie, and anyone else watching, I was out of it in my 12-team league dynasty, and one of them, of course, and I needed quarterback help in the worst way. Did I make a bad decision? Yes, I did. We'll talk about that. But I traded Saquon Barkley straight up for Jordan Love in a Superflex league because I wasn't winning. I wasn't going anywhere. I had to dump this asset because he's going to do nothing for me. Could I have gotten more? Sure. But the market isn't there. And that's why I'm going to go here with this, Jamie. This is why I'm transitioning into this. If that's the only thing you're going to get for Trevor Lawrence, and you already have Drake May and Jackson Dart and Daniel Jones, and it's only a 10-team league, and it looks like quarterbacks can be available or had because it is a 10-team league. I'm in a 10-team dynasty superflex where there are quarterbacks actually on the waiver wire because we don't have enough spots for all these players. If you're a fan of Worthy, because you've had the insurance of Drake May and Jackson Dart and Dimes, if you're a fan of Worthy, I would do it. But here's where I would say I would hold off. You're trading for a number 2. You're trading for not the top guy. And when I'm trading a quarterback in super flex leagues, I want equal value. Yes, again, I traded the best player in football last year for Jordan Love just because I needed depth, just because I wasn't going anywhere, and a quarterback's going to help my team in the future rather than this aging running back who's having a career season. This isn't your situation. This is young player on the Chiefs who's the number 2 option, sometimes the number 3 option, whereas Rashee Rice is back and he's clearly the alpha. We don't need to talk about that. I've talked enough about that. So all in all, bottom line, do it if you think Worthy is the guy and worth it, and do it if you think Trevor Lawrence is not the guy and is not worth it. I wouldn't do it because I think I can get more for a quarterback, because I think quarterbacks obviously hold the most value in any dynasty superflex league. I wouldn't do it. I would want to get more, but it all depends on how you value Worthy. And for myself, I don't value Worthy as a top tier, constant wide receiver for your fantasy team. So that's why I'm going to say that right there. I have Trevor Lawrence at quarterback 20 in Dynasty and Worthy at wide receiver 18. See, it all depends on your rankings and what you think. You know, I wouldn't do it. I think Trevor Lawrence is a safer floor and you can get more from him. But again, it's your league and your team and how you feel. I'm not going to tell you not to do the deal. I'm not, because I've made some deals that people told me not to do. And either they work out or they don't. That's the thing. Fantasy football is about risk and analyzing that risk and trying to figure out what works for your team and what's best for you, especially if you have Dart, who's going to be a top 10 quarterback in this league. And, of course, we know Drake May is super. Drake May is going to be at that level where Justin Fields was when he went on that tear against the 6 bad defenses, and everyone drafted him top 3 in Superflex. And then C.J. Stroud, and then Jaden Daniels this year. And then next year, Drake May will be drafted top 3 in dynasties, and he's going to regress, and people are going to be upset. It's a cycle that never ends, people. So Drake May is going to be that guy next year. Just a spoiler alert. And Brian is in the back. He's giving me the I don't know. Give me the thumbs up if you're good. He's good. So we're going to get on our guest here, the victim, the showdown victim, Brian Miracle. First time on the show. What's going on, Brian?
How's it going?
Man, I cannot complain. It's a beautiful Wednesday. It's the first time I've actually seen you in person. I played Dynasty with you for a while. So just to give everyone a heads up, our guests today are, not a guest, he's actually a member of the Fantasy Now team. He works on the social media side. And Justin's out, so I needed some backup. So we called in the big guns. Brian, I respect your game in fantasy. I've been playing, like I said, playing with you for a while. You've been playing with me for a while. So we've had some interactions. So how are you doing, man? How you feeling?
Doing good. I think my laptop decided to crash out right before this. So it's a lot of fun. My headset is got the Bluetooth connected to my laptop that will not let me disconnect it, so I can't connect. So hopefully the audio is okay, everybody. I just said I'm just gonna go sit in the car and do it in my phone. So all my notes that I have, hopefully I can keep as much of from my top of my head. So if it's not perfect, I do apologize. But I'm pretty good at winging it. So let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, we're gonna get to all these questions right off the rip, rapid fire. Then we're gonna go into our showdown. Justin's gonna be so mad at me because we have the whole brews and hot takes overlay right now. So let me fix that. Oh my goodness. There we go. We're back. So questions will be answered at 12:30 Eastern. That's not going to be true today because I answered some earlier and we got our guest. It's going to be around 12:45. Again, we'll get to every single question and comment here. That includes you, Big Body, which we'll do here soon. We'll get to Bobby and we'll get to Nick Heel. All right. Big Body, Bry on Twitch says, I traded Genty for Waddle and Kamara. Thoughts? Brian, your thoughts on this one? I'm assuming it's redraft.
Yeah, I mean, if it's either way, I don't love it. Kamara is not been very consistent the last few weeks. His age, I think, is catching up to him. Both of them potentially could get traded, so that could change it. So, I mean, you're definitely got the upside of a trade could help both. We're both Dolphins fans here. Waddle, as much as I love the guy, he's still got Tua throwing to him. So unless we get a trade, I don't think Waddle's upside's very high. And I think Jancy's just going to continue to get better, and we're going to see more and more of him just taking off. So me personally, I mean, 2 for 1. If you're on a depth issue, then it could make some sense. But otherwise, I don't love it.
Yeah, a depth issue could be a situation here, which I don't mind at all. I traded Waddle away yesterday. in a league of mine. I cannot tell you the return because I'm in 30-something leagues and I just forgot what I did. But I think I got the better end of the deal. I think I did. I'm okay with trading away Waddle, period, because I'm not a fan of Jalen Waddle. We don't need to go into this, but Brian, this is probably your first time. I'm a broken record. I say the same thing over and over. Here's Jalen Waddle. Catch the ball, get hit, roll around on the ground, bring out the stretcher. Sleeper deems him questionable. He returns, repeat. I'm over it. I don't want any part of Waddle on my team, although Genty has been underwhelming this year. If you compare him to Judkins and Scattaboo, he's pretty underwhelming for wherever he drafted him. So I can see the frustration.
Yeah.
Jamie says, I have May at quarterback 5 and Dart at quarterback 9 in Dynasty. Yeah. Do the deal then. I don't know if you got this question or if you heard it. He got to offer Xavier Worthy for Trevor Lawrence in a Superflex 10-team Dynasty League. And I advise I wouldn't trade the quarterback just because he holds more value. But he wants to know what can he do to add to get Vlad McConkey.
Add to Lawrence, so they want...
So he doesn't want Worthy. He'd rather have Lad. So he's trading away Lawrence to get Lad. He's going to have to offer more. And I'm going to say this, Jamie, before Brian, I think that's good. I don't think you should have to add anything else. 2 mid players, a quarterback 2 and a wide receiver 2. They both have the same kind of value in my eyes. I prefer Lad over Worthy because of consistency. He doesn't have that big upside as Worthy does. But I think that's pretty equal. What do you think, Brian?
That's what I was going to say. I'm not sure I'd add much to it because I feel like, especially getting the quarterback, and Trevor is fantasy-wise not been bad at all this year, and long term, Brian Thomas eventually is going to be Brian Thomas again, we think, and then he's got Hunter. He finds a way to spread that ball around. So I mean, getting Lawrence for Lad, I think that'd be what I'd be willing to give up straight up. I don't think I'd give up more.
If you have to, that token 3rd round pick, that usually gets it done.
Yeah.
Those things are useless. I throw them away like they're nothing. If a penny on the street, I walk by. A third on the street, I walk by. They're meaningless to me, at least. All right, last question. We'll get to everyone. We got to get these showdowns done. So Nikhil Prabhu, I'm sorry if I butchered that watching on YouTube. Thank you so much. Nix or Mayfield for quarterback, and Scattaboo or McConkey for flex. So we'll start with Nix and Mayfield. We're going to talk about Bo Nix pretty soon. But are you liking Baker Mayfield without his top target, Mike Evans, this week, or are we ride with Bo Nix versus Dallas?
Kind of funny. Baker's been pretty much injury receiver proof until this past week against Detroit. So I think without Evans, probably without Godwin, I still think I like Baker. Nix has a great matchup, though. Ooh, that's a hard. I go Baker myself. I just think you got to start your stars, and Nix hasn't been nearly as consistent as Baker. So matchup wise, yeah, Nix looks good, but I think I'd stick with Baker.
Yeah, I don't hate you for that. I'll take care of the flex question. Cam Scattaboo has been absolutely ridiculous. If you actually look at his numbers and where he stands in the rankings, he's higher than Judkins. He's higher than Genty as far as rookies go. He's pretty much, I wouldn't say matchup proof, but man, kind of matchup proof. Just the way they use him and get him the ball. He's going to be used at the goal line situation. They don't have any competition. There's not one running back that you can say, oh yeah, that guy's going to get the goal line work there. That's Cam Scattaboo and nobody else. Cam Scattaboo is averaging 16.8 fantasy points per game. He already played Philadelphia and did really well against them, so I'm not worried about that. So I'm going to go Cam Scattaboo. I think Lad is just, if you want thoughts on Lad, I don't see the upside with him. I don't get it. I think he's just a good player. Better NFL player than fantasy. Am I wrong on that, Brian?
No, I agree. I think obviously both of them were on the uptick lately, but if I'm going to take the one that I trust more, it's definitely Scat. I think we saw what he did to Philly the first time he played also, so Philly might come in with a little more, but I don't think it's going to matter. He's just going to do what he does because, like you said, he's about matchup proof.
Yep.
So.
Yep, he definitely is. We'll get to everybody else. Tyler, Chris, killing him since 86. Killing him since 80. Yeah. Dang. That's I'm slow. It's hard for me to read, but good name by there. So we're going to start with the quarterback position. We have two studs, literally two great quarterbacks this season, going against two underwhelming defenses this week. Bo Nix has got Dallas. He's currently the quarterback 6 on the season. And we have Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones going against Tennessee. He's a quarterback 5 on the season. So I'm going to start with you, Brian. Where are we leaning on the quarterback position this week? Bo Nix, who's had a great week, or Danny Dimes, who's been impressive all year?
Yeah, I mean, and it's hard to believe that these words are coming out of my mouth. But give me Danny Dimes over Bo Nix. Preseason, no one would have thought that was even a possibility. Well, maybe you, but maybe over Bo Nix though. You thought he was going to be better. You might like Danny Dimes, but Bo Nix had all the hype.
Did I draft Bo Nix as a top 24 player in a startup?
Probably.
I drafted Daniel Jones. I definitely did. Anyway, I don't need to brag about that. But, I digress. Yeah. Continue.
I mean, Daniel Jones is more, and this is the really crazy part, more consistent than Bo Nix also. I mean, if we take away the 39 fantasy points that he had with the incredible fourth quarter performance against the Giants last week, Bo Nix has not really been that dominant of a fantasy quarterback this year. It's one game that really puts him through the top. I mean, he had 4 touchdowns, 2 rushing, 2 passing last week. If you take that out, it's not even a real competition between who's been the better fantasy quarterback or even real quarterback this year between, Danny Dimes and Nix. And they both got good matchups. I tend to think that Dallas, after that huge win and how well they played, we might see, them even look a little better than they have defensively, because, I mean, that's a huge momentum, I think, gaining win for them. And, it's not often that they get to whip their rival like that, and that sometimes can really spark something. So I tend to think Danny Dimes is going to easily be the better choice this week.
So my concern isn't opportunity. Actually, it's opportunity. It's not talent. I said that wrong. As in Dallas, I think it's going to be a shootout, and they're going to have to score points, kind of like keeping up with Jackson Dart last week. But imagine keeping up with Jackson Dart and Wan'Dale Robinson, but like supersizing that with Dak Prescott and C. So I think they're going to have to score points to keep up. Whereas they're playing, Colts are playing Tennessee. Colts are on fire right now, one of the best offenses in the league. And guess who that's being led by? Jonathan Fields. He just came off of a 90-plus yard game on the ground and 3 rushing touchdowns. That's all they kind of need to do against Tennessee. I look at the fantasy points given up for the quarterback position. Titans only give up 15.7 fantasy points per game. That's because nobody needs to blow them out and throw on them. They can just run it down their throat. So I think this is going to be more of a Dimes is efficient. Danny is going to throw the ball to Tyler Warren and Michael Pittman when needed. But at the end of the day, this might just be a Jonathan Taylor game where I do think Bo Nix is going to have to keep up. Cortland Sutton's going to have to keep up. This is a huge Javonte Williams revenge game. So I see a couple touchdowns in his future as well. And if you look at the quarterbacks that played Dallas this year, almost all of them went off. I'm not going to read you all of them. You should know. But just the fact that Bustin Fields threw for 280 yards against them should tell you something. It should really tell you something. They have improved since then. Don't get it wrong. They shut down Bryce Young, which is not hard to do. They kind of held Jaden Daniels in check last week. That's kind of difficult to do. So that being said, I'm going Bo Nix for the reason of they're going to have to score points. They're just going to have to score points. Simple as that.
It's fair. I mean, like I said, my big concern is I think for Nix, just to piggyback a little bit of what you said, is I fear that last week that fourth quarter performance is we're going to see from Bo Nix going forward. I think he's been figured out.
Yeah, well, I hope not in this case. Ryan said there's mic issues. Is it me, Ryan? It could be me. My internet's terrible over here. Brian sounds great, though. So we're going to go run over to the running backs, where we have a player we talked about last week. Now, just to be transparent, Justin put these players together before he went to Paris on his little vacation. You know what's funny about that, Brian? We get this partnership with Underdog. We get this promotions, spend $5, you get $100 in bonus funds.
Yep.
Next thing you know, he's on a first-class ticket to Paris. We're over here. What are we doing wrong? That's all I need to know.
Right.
But anyway, we have Jaylen Warren versus Green Bay. He's the running back 26 on the season, or Jordan Mason at the Chargers. He's the running back 27 on the season. Again, since you're the guest, I'm going to be courteous and let you go first.
And I know that's what you tend to do. I've noticed. I'm willing to let you go first if you'd like one, though. I'm willing to offer the courtesy back.
All right, I'll do it. I'll do it. This one was difficult because at first glance, it's like, man, Green Bay. I don't really like Pittsburgh. They're not exciting. Huge Aaron Rodgers revenge game, if you believe in that kind of thing. I don't understand Jaylen Warren. And on the other side is Jordan Mason. And I wrote, he's the Tamu version of Derrick Henry. He's just not exciting. He doesn't catch a ball. He doesn't do anything that I'm actually excited about. It's hard to when all he does is get 15 carries for 57 yards, 13 carries for 56 yards. No catches. You're lucky if he gets in the end zone, because if he gets in the end zone, he gets you double-digit fantasy points. Again, the Tamo version of Tamo Derrick Henry. I'm not into that. I need my running back to catch balls. I need my running back to be on the field. I need my running back not to get out-snapped or game scripted out from a backup running back named Xavier Scott or whatever his name is. Can't stand that guy. Just because I can't. When they're on the field, it means they're down. And when they're down, it means there's no Jordan Mason. And I accidentally drafted Jordan Mason in so many leagues. Accidentally. So I'm going to go Jaylen Warren this week. He's not going to get game scripted out. He's going to catch the ball. He's going to run the ball. Yes, it's going to be against Green Bay, who has a slightly – I wouldn't say slightly. They're fourth best against the fantasy running backs. Like, they're really good against fantasy running backs. But I'm still going to go Jaylen Warren just because I know he's not going to be game scripted out. No one's going to take his job. I can easily see Jordan Mason sitting on the bench in the fourth quarter while they're down 2 points. I'll say you.
Yeah, no, I don't hate that. I think Jordan Mason, a lot of us have him, way too many shares of him, and probably wish we had a few less. But my biggest concern for him is honestly, though, is Aaron Jones. They took him off of the practice schedule. Will he return? Them playing Thursday. I don't think he's going to play. So I think that keeps Jordan Mason obviously well in the game plan. Having said all that, the other thing you talked about was get a touchdown. He's got 4 touchdowns on the season. While that may not seem like a lot, that's 3 more than Mr. Warren has. So he is, I'd rather have my running back when it's close, the one that's going to get the touchdowns, as the one I'm going with. And again, he doesn't have to go against the Green Bay D, which has been fantastic against running backs this year. So with that being said, if Aaron Jones isn't playing, I think that Mason's got much more upside, and Jaylen Warren's had one game over, I think, 52 yards rushing, and that was last week. So even when he has played, he's not getting a lot of rush yards. You mentioned worry. I mean, I think Kenneth Gainwell is more of a threat to him than Scott should be to Mason, even though that hasn't always been the way it's been. So, I think Jordan Mason, I like his matchup a lot better. I think he'll wind up being better. But I do think it's going to be really close because, again, they're both leave your head scratching.
I think if Jordan Mason doesn't score a touchdown this week, everyone's going to be disappointed. And I think if Jaylen Warren doesn't get 5 catches this week, like he's going to need the 5 catches that equals a touchdown. If you get 5 catches, you think you're going to get 10 yards. Unless you're like Jabbar Gaffney or Jarvis Landry, pulling out the old ones. They used to love catching 10 balls for 22 yards. It was a great thing. But I don't think that Jaylen Warren's going to disappoint. But I think Jordan Mason has a chance. But, all right. These are not fun. I don't want to talk about these players, but we have to. I don't know why Justin decided to do this, but we have DJ Moore at Baltimore or Khalil Shakir at Carolina. This is tough because, guys, there are 6 teams on a bye. People are struggling to roster or to fill I'm struggling to fill many rosters. So this is a real question. Some people are going to have to start these players. So again, I went first last. Let me know who you're starting this week.
I'm going to go with DJ Moore, and this one was difficult. Um, DJ Moore, at the end of the day, is wide receiver one quality. He's on the field at least enough to be. Odunze, I mean, we're not going to kid, has taken the job, but I think as long as Moore's on the field, he's going to have the opportunity. And whereas Shakur, he's a great slot weapon, but is he going to have as many opportunities as DJ Moore this week? I think it comes down to opportunity is where I favor Moore. Just think he has more of it, pun intended. Um, I don't love either one of them. If I didn't have to start one of these two, I wouldn't. But if I have to pick one, I'm definitely gonna favor Moore just because I think he has the opportunities. And honestly, he's the more talented player. So talent sometimes matters. Doesn't always matter, but sometimes it matters. So I'm gonna take the guy who I think has more opportunity and more talent.
No, I don't hate that at all. And this one I struggle with big time because the one time I went to the Senior Bowl to cover it, one time, it was the year Khalil Shakir was actually in the Senior Bowl, and I fell in love with him just because of his route running, because of his feet, just everything he could do. But I knew he wasn't going to be Justin Jefferson. I knew he wasn't going to be that kind of person. I thought like, oh, a Joe Jaravicious or somebody like that who's going to get open, catch the balls, get down, extend drives. And that's what he's been. He's been surprisingly better than I actually thought. DJ Moore, on the other hand, I'm like, oh, Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, like they're going to crush it. DJ Moore hasn't had a game over 50 yards receiving, but one time this season against Dallas, by the way, against Dallas. DJ Moore hasn't had a double-digit fantasy week except for one time. Oh, it was against Dallas. I don't know what they're doing with DJ Moore. He's only getting about 17% target share. He's not even involved in their offense, which he should be. And if you looked at it last week against New Orleans, their backup running back, or maybe he is the backup now, someone a lot of people loved and drafted, Kyle Manani guy. I can't even say his name. Kyle Manani guy. How do you say that name, Brian?
I believe you said it close right. I think it's Minagai, but I don't know if it's Minagai or
butcher every name. I butcher every name. But he actually got involved last week, and I think that's something they wanted to do coming out of the bye. Out of the bye, this backup running back, who we were all excited for, has been definitely more involved, getting 18 carries in the last 2 weeks, which is more than I think he's had all season long. I do think they're going to focus more on the Swift and the running game like they did with Gibbs and Montgomery back in Detroit with Ben Johnson, where Odunze is going to take over that massive, dominant wide receiver role. I don't like DJ Moore. Long story short, I don't like DJ Moore. But they're playing Baltimore, who is just they're abysmal. Anything could happen. Shakir's playing Carolina off of a bye week. They're going to, we assume, right, Josh Allen and Buffalo are going to score more points. And I know this is the easy way out, I'm copping out here, but look at the over-unders. Look who's going to score more points. Look who's going to have more opportunities in the red zone. You could say Chicago may have that, but at the end of the day, it's Josh Allen and Khalil Shakir and James Cook. But who's getting the carries in the red zone? Who's getting the targets? It's probably James Cook. It's probably Dalton Kincaid if he plays. It's probably Josh Allen just running it in himself. So that alone gives you kind of this caution on Khalil Shakir. Long story short, I'm going Shakir only because of that offense and Josh Allen, only because I don't trust a receiver that cannot get past 50 yards, and we're already in week 8. It'd be fine if it was 1 or 2 games, but it's been all season. What's changed now? That's all.
Yeah, no, very good points. Like I said, I think it's if you have a choice, pick someone else, guys. But if those are your choices, good luck.
None guy. Jamie, I've had this done for me for Harry Keneal Harry, whatever he is, 1,000 times, and I still can't get his name right. I'll never get his name right. I never will. But all right, we have the last matchup, the Titans. And again, one of these guys, I don't even know who rosters him, why you roster him. That's Mark Andrews of the Baltimore Ravens. He's playing the Chicago Bears, as we just talked about. And we have another Viking on this list. Very intriguing Viking. Of course, it's not Johnny Munt. It's TJ Hawkinson at the Chargers. I hate both. This is the worst. This is ugly. There's not anyone else out there on waivers you can grab. There's not anyone. There's not K Dot you can go grab. There's not who else? Who else? AJ. No, I wouldn't start AJ Barner of these guys. I would start these guys. But anyway, that being said, I think I'm going to go Hawkinson here, only because I think that if Carson Wentz plays, he has been getting more involved. And we can't really tell with JJ McCarthy. He's played 8 quarters. 7 of them have been atrocious. 1 of them has been good. So we can't gauge that. But I think Hawkinson is going to be more involved in this offense. Whereas Mark Andrews, what has he done? Where has he been? He's been invisible. You think he's had one good game? And that one good game was the game that knocked me out of my guillotine league when I had commission. You're in it still.
I am.
Right?
Yeah.
Are you still in?
I'm
I
still
got
in.
knocked out because some clown started Mark Andrews. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. But anyway, long story short, TJ Hawkinson is just going to give you the better opportunity to score fantasy points, whereas Mark Andrews has been invisible, especially with that quarterback situation. How say you, sir?
Yeah. I'll just add on your guillotine league. Thank you for Jamar Chase. That's why I think I'm still in it. So,
I'm so bitter about that, by the way. But all right, continue.
yeah, I spent a lot of money to get Jamar Chase, but it's worked out so far. Yeah, no, Mark Andrews, TJ Hawkinson, 2 years ago, obviously this is a lot easier decision because they're both worth starting. Mark Andrews, I think we're seeing him kind of at the end. The key though is we don't know how he would look with Lamar in there because obviously Cooper Rush is not getting the job done. They're 1-5. I don't think they're going to rush Lamar back. They're going to take their sweet time if he, why? I mean, the season's close to over. So I guess your only saving grace with Mark Andrews, I'd say, is, obviously red zone. He's going to be more likely of a target because they don't have as many targets. For whatever reason, Cooper Rush doesn't seem to want to make Zay Flowers matter because I do think that is a horrible opportunity being wasted with Zay Flowers because that guy can run routes and catch anything. But as long as Cooper Rush forgets that he exists, Mark Andrews has a chance to get them red zone targets. So I think that's where your upside is with Andrews.
Yeah, it's just Mark Andrews is 20 yards if you're lucky. Like, literally 20 yards if you're lucky in a cloud of dust. He has been super irrelevant. Matter of fact, take away that week 3 game against Detroit where he had the 2 touchdowns, 91 yards. He literally has 84 receiving yards on the season. That game against Detroit, he had 91. He's just ineffective. There's no argument that can make me tell you to start Mark Andrews. Hawkinson's coming off of 2 back-to-back games of 6 catches each in each game, under 40 yards, which isn't special. Only 1 touchdown on the season. So, again, pick your poison. I definitely think that Hawkinson has a better shot because he's just getting more targets and more involved. Simple as that. So that's it, man. That's the showdown. You survived. I survived. We had some technical difficulties, right? The computer wasn't working, but we made it work. So now we can get to these questions. And this is where the fun happens. This is where the magic happens. So where do we finish off with? Tyler, trade Lamar and Kamara for AJ Brown and Ken Walker PPR redraft. So,
do we know if it's super flex?
We don't know if it's super flex. We just know it's a PPR redraft league, so we're going to assume it's not. So we're going to assume that he needs to win, and he needs to trade away Lamar because he's still unsure if he's going to play, and he needs players now. So I'm okay with this deal. I'm definitely okay with this deal. It's just if you look at A.J. Brown in his uses last week, both of those catches were either busted coverage or the cornerback just wasn't good. And all he did was run straight, and the ball came right down in his arms. I don't know if we can continue to think that's going to continue. I don't know if they're going to keep on doing this as the weather turns, as everything gets colder, as Jalen Hurts doesn't throw the ball a ton anyway. Kenneth Walker's being out-snapped and outplayed by Charbonnet. That's sad. That is sad. We don't know when Lamar's coming back. So how would you handle this? Because I tried to trade for Lamar can't do it. He's trying to trade away Lamar.
Yeah, I think it. I mean, if it's super flex, I think it's an easy one. You would keep Lamar for sure because he's coming back eventually, and he's just a no-brainer. Even non-super flex, Lamar's just so good. And Kamara, Walker, while right now they both are, Kamara's the better, So I don't think you want to, get rid of Kamara for Walker. So it's really, is AJ Brown worth Lamar? That's the real question here. And I kind of agree with you that he's not consistent in that offense. Not that he doesn't have the talent, it's just the game plan and the way they love to tush push and run and really that's Jalen Hurts' strength anyway. So I think I would keep Lamar and Kamara and hope. Now, if you're in a situation where your team's really bad and you got to get a win, then maybe you make the move because you got to shake it up. But unless I'm sitting at 2-5 or worse, I don't think I'd make that move.
And I can say this as well. Yeah, you have to be 2-5 to make this move. But if you're on the other spectrum, you're 5-2, and you can give up these players to get Lamar, and you think Lamar's going to come back, it's a good trade for either side. If you're the winning team and want insurance later on, boom, easy peasy. This is the kind of trade that helps both teams, if that's the case, which is the best trade in fantasy. Trade Saquon. Chris, yours truly wants to know. Trade Saquon and Marv for Ibuka. And I have Gibbs, Judkins, and Rico Dowdle.
That's a hard one.
It's hard, but it's kind of not. And I'll tell you why. Just on my perspective of things. Mike Evans is out for the rest of the fantasy season. He will be back in the playoffs. He will be back for the Buccaneers in the playoffs. Chris Godwin's going to be out for the next 3 to 5 weeks. I don't think they're going to rush him back either. Emeka's been holding the fort down in Tampa Bay since day one. Literally since day one. Marvin Harrison is a huge question mark. We don't know if he's going to play well with Brissett, with Kyler. He's kind of up in the air. And Saquon's he was going to have a down year compared to last year anyway. I think it's too much to give for Emeka. Even though you have Gibbs and Judkins, doesn't mean you need – just because you have two – let me put it this way. If I have 3 cars and all 3 of them are Corvettes, Porsches, whatever, top of the line, just because I have those doesn't mean I can just give one away for a Corolla. And I'm not saying Ibuka's a Corolla. But what I'm saying is just because you have the means doesn't mean you could just give it away. I would want more on top of Emeka, or you'd have to take away Marv. Saquon for Emeka should be fair, in my opinion. How say you?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The reason why it makes it hard is when you add the Marv piece. And this isn't even that Marv's been.
I think I lost my co-host. He just went black.
I'm back. Sorry.
I'm back.
I was going to say, this isn't anything, Marv, he's more named than anything, but he does still have talent. So, Saquon for Ibuka straight up, I would think you would want to do that. Or like he said, Rico, can you trust Rico as your third running back? You want to get something back in addition if you're going to give up Saquon and Marv. I agree.
Yep. All right. Next question: Mason Taylor or Gadsden, the tight end for LA. Where are you going this week? Or is it rest of the season? Either way, Mason Taylor or Gadsden.
I think you got to go Gadsden. We don't know what Mason Taylor's usage is going to really look like with the quarterback change. Whereas Gadsden has had the third best receiving yards by a rookie tight end in a game ever. So he was a wide receiver converted to tight end in college, and he put up those numbers like he did last week consistently at Syracuse. Had he been anywhere, big where people knew his name, I think he would have definitely been more on the radar. I have some shares of him. He was one of my deep sleepers, and seeing him getting the opportunity, I think he's going to continue to show.
Yeah, I'm glad that he's doing well because I think you're in our one of our dynasties where I traded him in a third for Judkins, and I'm still laughing my way to the bank. So I'm glad he's doing well. So it makes the other person look a little. Was that you? Did I fleece you? Who did I fleece?
Not me.
Somebody.
No, I would have done that.
But I'm glad. I'm glad he's doing well, so it doesn't look as bad because I really got over on that trade.
Yeah.
Guys, don't overreact to preseason or offseason news. Come on, we knew Judkins was going to play. All right, flex Chase Brown, Pittman, or Vidal this week. Man, I cannot get on the Chase Brown bandwagon, so I'm just going to X him out immediately. He's done in my books. He had a good week last week, and it wasn't even that good. I think 11 points, whatever. So it comes down to me, Michael Pittman or Vidal. Pittman's been obviously involved. We like Daniel Jones this week. Daniel Jones has been getting him the ball and more involved. Vidal, right, without Haskins not practicing and mainly being on Vidal's part, honestly, it comes down to, is it a PPR league? Is it to get 0.5 per first down rush? It all depends on your league. In a vacuum, I'm going Michael Pittman. I think targets are better than carries. I think that Michael Pittman has a better chance to score a touchdown with Daniel Jones throwing him the ball. And I think Michael Pittman has a better shot at just getting you more fantasy points overall. Vidal is more of a question mark. Where are they going to go? Are they going to go Gadsden? Are they going to go Keenan Allen? Are they going to go Ladd? QJ? There's so many options at the Chargers, whereas the Colts, they have a really good offense, but really, if you boil it down, it's Taylor, Pittman, or Warren.
Yep.
Bigger piece of the pie for Michael Pittman rather than Vidal. How say you?
I would actually go Pittman, Brown, Vidal. So I mean, I think we're both on Pittman one. I got some Chase Brown shares, so he's been very disappointing. But you got to think, maybe after last week, while his fantasy numbers might have been great, his involvement in the offense was much greater than it's been all season. So you have to think, and they beat the Steelers, you might see more Chase Brown getting more involved again. So I'd put him number 2, but I think Pittman is the right answer.
Right on. Devontae Smith is a wide receiver 1 in Philly, bro. What are you smoking? No, it's possible. I don't know. If you're the tallest, never mind. I'm not going to say what I was going to say because I might get canceled. But if you're the tallest short person in the short person parade, are you really that tall? Would you trade Michael Pittman Jr. for Ja'Cory, Krosky, Merritt? My running backs are Gibbs, Monty, both on bye. Yes, they are. Because they're on the same team. Bucky, Rashad White, both again on the same team. Wide receivers are JSN, Rice, Nico, Diggs, and Pittman.
I love your receivers minus Pittman. That in a vacuum, the answer is I say in a vacuum, the answer is you keep Pittman. But looking at your roster, I think it makes sense.
It makes sense. I'm going to say the same thing. In a vacuum, looking at your roster, you need to probably win this week. Yes, I would trade Michael Pittman for a running back that you can start because Rashad White and JCM, with those receivers, JSN's on a bye too, though. You have a chance. And Nico's going to be out this week. You're hurting this week, 1,000%. Jaden Daniels rolled out. Yeah, that's unfortunate, man. That is so unfortunate. That's all I have to say about that, JR. That's all I have to say. Hoping Brock is back after the bye. My Guillotine League Superflex team needs him. Yeah. Although I'm a big fan of Mac Jones. Or is it Brock Bowers?
Just say what's Brock.
Probably Brock Bowers. They're on a bye. 49ers are not on a bye this week. So Brock Bowers, yes. Bucky out again too. Chuba, JCM, or Golden this week. PPR. Man, Chuba's Dowdle doing awesome is not awesome for your fantasy teams because now Chuba's like in a spot where they paid him, they extended him, he was the guy, and now he's a guy. And they're playing Buffalo, so they might be playing catch up. JCM, what do you think about JCM? We just talked about him. Are you a fan of this guy? Playing Kansas City Monday night.
I think he's good enough. I think good enough is probably the best way to put it. I wouldn't want him as a dynasty, star. I think this year he's definitely worth having. I do think he's a guy that next year they may not be the running back there. So Daniels being out, though, I think that elevates him because they're going to have to lean on him a little bit more. So for me this week, I think of those 3 options, he'd be the one I'd go.
All right, and I'm going to stick with Chuba on this one, and here's why. He's still getting double-digit carries, even last week against the Jets at 14. we live in an era where running backs is share loads. There's very, very little running backs that share, right? It's Genty, Henry, CMC. Like there's very little running backs that share. So with that being said, I'm going to go Chuba on this one. I think he's still going to be involved. And for some reason, the Panthers, they may not have their quarterback figured out. They might not have anything figured out. But you know what they do have figured out since like last year? They could run the football. And they know how to run the football. So I'm going to go Chuba Hubbard here. A couple more questions, then we got to get out of here. Would you do this trade? I give up DeAndre Swift, Wandell, or Debo, and Tajay Spears, but I get Saquon and Kareem Hunt and a choice between Trey Tucker, Judy, Juwan Jennings. Thoughts? Okay. So Swift, Wandell. Yep. So Swift, let's break it down. Swift, Wandell, Debo. No, sorry. Swift, Wandell, or Debo. And I'm not going to say Spears because he's irrelevant. For Saquon, Hunt, who's kind of irrelevant. And let's do this first. Who would you rather have? Trey Tucker, Judy, or Juwan Jennings?
Probably Trey Tucker.
Yep. Okay, so we agree on there. I like Trey Tucker. He's probably the number one there in Las Vegas. Jacoby Myers has been kind of underwhelming. Trey Tucker's taken over that role, not just because of that 40-point game. He just is getting the targets as a wide receiver one. So Trey Tucker. All right. That being said, so Swift is just getting started with Chicago. It seems like they found the groove with him in the past 2 weeks, scoring 20 points each week. Wandell is de facto number one. He's the de facto number one, and Jackson Dart has so much swag, it doesn't matter. He's going to throw it to him. He's going to catch it. I like those. I like those players. Debo, I'm a Debo hater. I do not want to roster Debo ever. This year, I like him. So I'm all for Debo. Saquon's been down. Hunt, to me, is a nobody. And Trey Tucker's not enough to get the return. So I'm sticking with Swift and Wandell or Debo.
And I say you're right. It's crazy to say. I do think Saquon could bounce back and make you regret it. That's the hard part. I mean, but we've got enough of a sample size now that I think that I would stick with Swift, Wando, and Debo, and Spears.
Yep, 1,000%. Again, guys, Ben Johnson wants to get the – people think about the Lions and Almon's – he wants to get the run game going. DeAndre Swift is his focal point. And, of course, the run game. K-Dog, last one. Then we're out. What's up, Josh and Dan? For PPR, would you trade Kittle, Mason, Debo, Keon Coleman for the sun god himself, Amon-Ra St. Brown? And I'm not going to give you any analytics. I'm not going to give you any – yes. Because I'll be honest with you. Those Kittle is elite, right? He can also score you 0 points. Mason, we already talked about his limitations. Debo, we like Debo, but he's not elite. And Keon Coleman is droppable. He's not even worth rostering. For a top-tier, top-5 receiver, yes, these are the kind of trades I'm talking about. I'm assuming you're 5-1, 6-1, 5-2. This is how you win championships. Give your depth for a superstar and enjoy your championship, buddy. That's what I would do. If you're 5-2.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a smash accept. Whether it's dynasty or redraft, I mean, you're getting the elite receiver who's going to consistently put up numbers. Kittle's the only part of that trade that would make you even question it, but Kittle's hurt as often as he's great. So give me St. Brown.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. And that's going to do it for the show today. I hope you enjoyed it. Dan, I really appreciate you on the show. You're actually one of my 5th favorite. No, I'm kidding. You're in there in the top 5. Don't worry. You made the MySpace top 5 or whatever it was.
Woo-hoo.
You were fun. So I appreciate you. We're going to get on out here. Make sure you follow us. Fantasy Now Plus everywhere. Our website, fantasynowplus.com. Rankings, waivers, articles, all that fun stuff. Make sure you follow us on Blue Sky. Fantasy Now Plus. I'm there. I've been there, Dan. I don't post on social media, but I have been snarky lately. So if you want my snarky comments, go to Blue Sky. Other than that, chat.fantasynowplus.com. Where can we find you, Dan?
Yeah, I'm on Blue Sky as well, and then on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. DanMan2133. Those are the main places. I have a Facebook, but I don't really don't really do the fantasy on Facebook much, but you know, that's
Right
main
on.
places is those two, Twitter and Blue Sky.
Right on. And if you want to support us, just hit that like button. It helps you out. It helps us out more than you think. We have more fantasy analysis coming tonight at 8 p.m. with Topher and Michael. They'll be going through our rankings versus the experts' rankings and compare them to. So make sure you check out those guys tonight. Until next week, guys, peace out.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you watch or listen to podcasts. We'll be back next week for more ways to win your league.